Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. I share chilling mysteries and eerie stories like this every single day. And tonight's tale may be the most haunting true crime case you've never heard of. March 1922. Rural Bavaria, Germany. A lonely farmstead, surrounded by forest and fields, called Hinterkaifeck. 6 people lived there. Andreas Gruber, a stern patriarch, his wife, Cecilia, their widowed daughter, Victoria, her 2 children, 7-year-old Cecilia, and baby Joseph, only 2, and their maid, Maria. On a cold evening at the end of March, all 6 were slaughtered, brutally, with a mattock, a heavy farming tool. But the horror did not end with death, because whoever killed them stayed in the house afterward. They fed the animals, cooked meals, and kept the fires burning. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved more than a century later, and the deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. The farm stood half a mile from the nearest road, hidden by fields, pressed by forest. To reach it, you walked through dirt and silence. The neighbors knew the family, but they were not close. Andreas was hard, harsh. Rumors of scandal swirled about Victoria and the child Joseph. The Grubers lived apart, in every sense, and yet, strange things began to happen. One winter night, Andreas noticed footsteps in the snow. They led from the forest, straight to the farmhouse, but no tracks led back. He also heard noises, footsteps above him, in the attic. But when he searched, nothing. Just dust and shadows and the echo of his own breathing. Locks broke. A strange newspaper appeared on the porch, one no one in the household subscribed to. Keys went missing. The maid who had worked there for years told friends she felt haunted in that house. She quit, refusing to stay another night. Her replacement, Maria, arrived on March 31st. That Friday night was cold. Neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney. Life seemed normal. The family gathered inside. Little Cecilia went to bed. Baby Joseph was tucked into his crib. The dog barked into the dark, then went quiet. Sometime that night, the killer struck, one by one. Family members were drawn into the barn. Andreas, his wife, Victoria, 7-year-old Cecilia. The child's jaw was shattered. She clutched tufts of her own hair in her hands, signs she had lived in agony for hours before death came. Inside the house, the killer continued. Maria, the new maid, was murdered in her bed. Baby Joseph was struck down in his crib. 6 lives ended with brutal precision. Their bodies were covered. The family in the barn, hidden under hay. Maria under sheets. Joseph beneath his blankets, as if the murderer did not want to see what they had done. Saturday morning. No one saw the family, but neighbors noticed the chimney smoke. The animals looked fed. Meals seemed cooked. The farm looked alive. Sunday. Still no sign of the Grubers, but bread was baked. The cattle watered. The dog tied up outside. By Monday, the mailman brought letters, but the farm was silent. He saw smoke again, but no faces, no voices. By Tuesday, neighbors grew uneasy. Children had missed to school. Victoria was absent from choir practice. The farm seemed cared for, but empty. Finally, on Wednesday, neighbors went inside. What they found turned the quiet suspicion into horror. Inside the barn, they found a pile of hay. Underneath, the bodies of Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria, and little Cecilia. Faces bruised, skulls crushed by a mattock. Inside the house, Maria lay in her bed, the baby Joseph in his crib. Both gone. The barn smelled of blood, but the kitchen smelled of food. Bread had been cut, meals eaten, the fire in the stove still warm. The animals had been fed. The dog barked, chained in the yard. The killer had lived there for days, moving through the house, feeding animals, eating meals, sleeping near the dead. Police arrived from Munich. They were horrified. But their methods were crude. Crowds trampled the crime scene. Curious neighbors took souvenirs. Evidence was lost before it was gathered. The bodies were autopsied on the farm table. The cause of death: blows from a mattock. Cecilia, the child, showed signs of having lived at least a few hours after the attack. The murder weapon itself was not found at first. It would be discovered months later, hidden in the farm's rafters. Theories bloomed. Some said robbery, but valuables remained untouched. Some said it was a madman. Others whispered it was someone closer. And every whisper returned to the strange events before the crime. First theory: a stranger from the forest. Someone had walked to the farm, left no tracks back, hidden in the attic. Perhaps they watched for days. Perhaps they waited for the right night. The second theory: revenge. Andreas was disliked, harsh with neighbors. He had enemies. The third theory: scandal within the family. Rumors said baby Joseph was not just Victoria's child, but Andreas's. Incest. If true, it could have given motive to relatives or neighbors disgusted by the sin. Another suspect: Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a neighbor. He had been romantically linked to Victoria. Some said he believed Joseph was his son. He was among the first to enter the crime scene and behaved strangely. opening doors, moving items, as if he already knew what he would find. But suspicion never became proof. Every theory led to shadows. After the murders, the farm was abandoned, but the land did not forget. Visitors reported strange feelings, cold drafts in the attic, the sound of footsteps overhead, whispers that the killer had returned. The farm stood for a year, then was demolished. But people said the ground itself felt wrong, as if what had happened there had soaked into the earth. The dog was adopted, the animals sold, but the story remained. Over the years, suspects rose and fell. Former farmhands, vagrants, jealous lovers, neighbors. Each was examined. None could be tied. The case stretched across decades. Files reopened, tips investigated, psychics consulted. No answer, no confession. Only silence. Even in 2007, German investigators reviewed the evidence. Modern techniques could not help. The names of likely suspects were sealed, out of respect for descendants. And the mystery remained. So, who killed the family of Hinterkaifeck? A stranger from the woods? A neighbor with jealousy in his heart? A secret within the family too dark to bear? No one knows, but the details make it unforgettable. Footsteps in the attic, keys that vanished, a maid who fled, saying the house was haunted, and after the killings, the killer who stayed, living in the house with the bodies. The Hinterkaifeck murders are a ghost story without ghosts. A crime without justice. A silence that still echoes across the fields of Bavaria. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe. I share chilling mysteries like this every single day. And tomorrow, another story waits in the dark.